You're listening to Trademarks Made Easy. Trademarks Made Easy is the podcast focused on helping brand owners in the e-commerce space. With your host, Suzi Hickson, the private label lawyer. But don't worry, you won't find too much legalese here.
Well, hey there. I'm your host, Suzi Hickson, also known as the private label lawyer. Now, in this episode, I'm going to convince you that creating your trademark or your brand name for your private label products is more important than naming your kiddos. Don't believe me? Well, listen on. That's right. I'm talking to you, Moon Unit. There's 3 main reasons your brand name is more important than your kids' names. Indeed, naming your children is really important, and perhaps that's why people with names like Rocket Flare, Binge McDingleton, and Felonious Dorcas are legally changing their names at a record rate with as little as $50 and a few clicks. Even Americans are jumping on board to get the name they want and getting rid of the name they were given. Listen, if you ended up with a name like Moon Unit or Cocaine Spider, you can at least right your parents wrong by picking out a fantastic brand name for your e-commerce products. Of course, the pain of change is just one of the several reasons you'll want to select a strong trademark for your e-commerce products at the outset. If you've already gone down the road of trademark selection and encountered some problem areas, for example, a cease and desist letter or a merely descriptive refusal with the USPTO, take what you've learned from that experience and focus on selecting a strong and viable trademark that will benefit your business for the long term going forward. We live and learn. What it boils down to is the fact that consumers' purchasing decisions are influenced by trademarks. There's no way around this. If you end up spending weeks on selecting your products, you'll need to spend weeks on selecting your trademarks, if not longer. Please do not gloss over this important step in the private label process. Trademark selection is just as important as product selection, especially if you intend to stick around for a while. Fly-by-night fidget spinners or a Fad of the Month club. If you're just looking to make a quick buck, you can stop listening now. However, your brand is your reputation. Your trademark sings your reputation. So, are you ready for some tough love? Here are the 3 main reasons why your brand name is more important than naming your kids. First of all, the difficulty in changing your trademark. Unlike your children who might decide to become Magic Powers or Steve Smith once they are adults, depending on their personalities, it's essential to your business that your trademarks withstand the test of time. Yes, well beyond the lives of your little Magic Powers or Steve Smith. Bun, Coca-Cola, Stella Artois. These are beautiful brand names that have increased in value over time, and they've long outlived their owners' founders. And you can do this too, but probably not with a name like Super Smashy Garlic Press. Actually, that one's not too bad. Now, if you're savvy, your e-commerce trademark will be worked into every aspect of your product and brand. Additionally, as long as you keep using it, and as long as you maintain your registration properly, your trademark registration, you can expect that trademark to long outlive the life of any of your tangible products. A good trademark can be passed down through generations, just like any asset. Think Kellogg's. Now, at one point, that was just someone's last name, right? Oh my. Cereal and packaging sure have evolved. The first generation those products were marketed to, they likely now have young children or even grandchildren of their own. But guess what? Their brand name has grown in value over time. And you too should pick a brand name that will grow in equity over time. Now, you're listening to this podcast because you want to learn, and you want to learn how to make more money for your business. Your trademark can grow in value, and it is an asset that can be sold or licensed. Now, think outside the box when it comes to monetizing your trademarks, and stick around for a while with me, and you'll ultimately learn how. If you suddenly realize that your trademark isn't going to cut it for the long haul for whatever reason, you will most likely have to go through the whole process of selecting a new brand name and file a new trademark application. And as a lot of us know, this is not an overnight process. Even if there are no hangups in the trademark application process with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, you should expect it to take about 6 to 8 months to obtain your new trademark. However, don't be afraid of selecting a new trademark if you must. Be afraid, much more afraid, of that sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy is the general tendency for people to continue an endeavor or continue consuming or pursuing an option if they've invested time or money or some resource into it. Now, that effect becomes a fallacy if it's pushing you to do things that are making you worse off. Decisions can be tainted by the accumulation of monetary and emotional investments. And the more you invest in something, the harder it becomes to abandon it. All decisions face uncertainty about the future. And when you lose something permanently, it hurts. Now, the drive to mitigate this negative emotion leads to strange behaviors. For example, continuing to market under a brand name that you know you cannot really build value in because the trademark is actually descriptive and weak. Please do not become a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. If you need a new trademark, take this challenge as an opportunity to engage and communicate with your customers. Make sure they know your brand name is evolving and only getting better, and that you'll still have the same amazing quality products. Perhaps you could even involve people in a naming contest or poll to increase customer engagement. Hopefully your business and your brand spanking new brand name will both be around much longer than they have been already. And you will likely have far more customers in the future than you've had in the past. If you end up having to change your brand name for whatever reason, do it sooner rather than later. Don't put it off. Now, another reason that naming your private label products is more important than naming your kids is because trademarks are valuable. Okay, whether or not your business is more valuable than your child might remain open for debate. However, your trademark itself, that little nugget that sings your brand, is more valuable than your kid's name, of course, unless your kid's name is Blue Ivy Carter. A primary reason that choosing a strong trademark when starting your business is so important is that your brand name itself holds value. In fact, the right trademark matched with products that fit well into a market can make an absolute fortune for your business. And remember what I said earlier, don't even forget about possible monetization of your trademark. The leading valuable brands, not the company value, but just the value of the brand, are worth billions of dollars. And to give some examples, Amazon, $150.8 billion, Apple, $146.3 billion, Samsung, $92.3 billion, Facebook, $89.7 billion. Now, I don't know about you, but those are numbers that kind of make my head spin. Understanding the value of your trademark has a lot to do with your interactions with consumers and creating what is considered goodwill. The goodwill generated by your company appreciates with time as your business's positive reputation grows, also making your trademark more valuable along the way. So why is that? Well, consumers are more willing to pay a premium for a product, like a wetsuit by the company Quicksilver, than they are for the exact product, like a wetsuit without the Quicksilver trademark, because they trust the brand Quicksilver. Plus, their logo is really cute. Now, by not choosing the right trademark from the start, you're setting yourself up to lose a lot of value down the line, either through unrealized growth or from cutting losses and having to start all over with your brand. So, the third reason why trademarks are more valuable than your children's names. Trademarks tell consumers what's up. Now, your trademark or your brand name communicates what your brand is all about to consumers. It tells the consumers if you're a wild adrenaline rush of a brand that thinks doing 5 backflips on a pogo stick off a cliff and landing it is worthwhile. Hello, Red Bull. Or it can communicate if you're a sophisticated brand for those moments in life where elegance and power and luxury and history are essential. Think Tiffany and Company. These are both so different, both of these brands, but they're so great in their own unique way. What is communicated when done right can go well beyond your initial product. Another example, John Deere. It's basically a tractor company, but they have also branded themselves as a farmer's lifestyle company. The brand represents more than just tractors. It represents a dream of what America was, is, and can be. And because of that, people wear John Deere hats and shirts and buy other products with that iconic yellow and green John Deere logo on them to communicate their alliance with the traits of this brand name. Are you not imagining a waving American flag in front of a wheat field and a green tractor rolling by with God bless the USA in the background at this very moment? I am. So choosing the right trademark can give you the ability to grow beyond your original product and represent more than just a really pretty piece of jewelry. So some final thoughts for you. The bottom line is that you have to take the time to get your trademark right. And it's better to get it right the first time if you can. But if you messed up, that's okay. I can help you. You first want to avoid that sunk cost fallacy and stop digging yourself deeper. The value of your trademark and its ability to communicate your brand in the market is essential for you to grow your e-commerce presence and maximize profits. Additionally, the costs of either struggling forward with a lousy trademark or switching your trademark later on can be really detrimental for you in the long term. If you think you've glossed over this all too often overlooked step in private label process, go back to the drawing board sooner rather than later. You don't want to put this off. That's all for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you loved it and that you found it of value.
Thanks for listening to Trademarks Made Easy with Suzi Hickson, the private label lawyer. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe anywhere you find podcasts or at theprivatelabellawyer.com.
Remember, the information provided in the Trademarks Made Easy podcast should not be construed as legal advice. It's for informational and entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered a substitute for legal advice. Also, I'm not your attorney. You should engage with an attorney to discuss your specific legal issues. And finally, while I have taken precautions to ensure that the content of my podcast is current and accurate, errors can occur, and thankfully, like us, the laws are ever evolving. Next week, I'm going to fill you on 3 strategies your private label competitors are already using in their online brand protection strategy, so you don't want to miss it. I'll see you in the next episode, and remember, never stop learning.